Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome to the live session with the Hype Magazine. I'm your editor-in-chief, Dr. Jerry Dovey, and this evening, this is a special live session because not only do we have a masterful musician, a great business person, we also have a person who has one of the most responsible positions in the state of Kansas. We're talking about Lamont Jackson. He's the owner of LJ's Music Group. He has been an entertainer for a long time, ran entertainment venues, number one karaoke guy in the state for like 8 years running. But the job that has the most impact, he is the head of the security detail for the entire state of Kansas, for the governor, the legislators, the senators, all them people who think they somebody. This is the guy who runs the projection details for all of them. Very integral part of the legislative branch and our state executive branch. Has the governor on speed dial. Has some very interesting stories from inside the halls of Just Us. Oh boy. We're not even gonna get to that. But one of the key things is that this brother believes that law enforcement can use music to bridge the gap, at least open the doors of communication with the greater communities. He's also trying to motivate people who wear the same uniform, y'all know what I'm talking about, to join the team to help influence and enforce the laws from inside the system as opposed to hating the system. Just don't, you got caught, don't be hating. You know what I mean? But there's some injustices, but he believes that we can bridge the gap through music and entertainment. He has graced the stages of the Apollo Theater multiple times, 3 times, I think, to be exact. Shared the stage with Kelly Clarkson, performed live on stage with Kelly Clarkson show, then went to LA and was a guest on the Kelly Clarkson show. I understand that there was an offer of a situation. However, we can't talk about it. It's G16 classified. But we all make decisions to protect our families and stand by our families. And so I really respect what you did. Lamont Jackson, welcome.
Thank you, brother.
I appreciate you. All right. So this is not in court. Doesn't mean if I say something, you just answer that question. You just go ahead and expand. It's okay. Eh. How long have you been in law enforcement, first of all? Because this is ingrained
Well,
behavior.
I've been in law enforcement since 1998. So I started off as a firefighter and police officer and didn't, understand what I want to do yet. So did firefighting and law enforcement and decided to switch over to law enforcement. So I've been there ever since.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
When was it that the bug for music hit you?
Man, the bug for music, I would have to say in the late 80s.
Mm,
My brother was a singer.
mm,
And I just admired him, and I love music anyway, and I didn't realize he could sing so well. And I used to like mimic a lot of artists in high school, and people would say, "Man, you sound just like Michael Jackson, or you just sound just like Prince." I wouldn't sing music, but I would just hee or whatever, just
right.
mimic stuff. And they're like, "You sound just like him," or "Men in the Mirror," whatever. And
Yeah.
and it didn't really dawn on me till like later on in life, and that was probably another 3 or 4 years before I even decide to start singing, to be honest with you.
Okay. Was there a benchmark moment where you knew it was on?
Yeah, I would have to say, by listening to music, I'm all over the place with music. I love all different genres. That's just me.
Mm,
Um, but I never forget this. I was riding my car listening to music. I'm thinking, you know what? I wonder if I can get like a microphone and hook something up to my stereo at home and just sing along with the artist.
mm.
And so I went to Radio Shack. I don't know if they still have that anymore, but
I don't think it exists.
no, really?
I,
Well,
I know what you're talking about.
so it's Radio Shack and said told him what I was trying to do. He goes, have you ever heard of karaoke? I'm like, what's karaoke? Matter of fact, there's a bar like right down the street. They have karaoke on whatever nights it was. And he goes, the music's there, the lyrics are there, and you just sing to the music.
Mm.
I'm like, really? He said, yeah. So I still went ahead and bought the microphone and was able to take it home and
Uh,
plug it in and sing along with the stereo or whatever. But then I went to my first karaoke bar and got on stage. You know the first song that I did? You want to take a guess or just go ahead and tell?
Man in the mirror.
No, close, same artist. I did It Doesn't Matter If You're Black or White by Michael Jackson.
Oh wow, challenge.
And tore it up,
Mm.
and then so the people in the crowd were cheering and applauding and stuff. And I said, man, you're a good singer. And that's the key moment where I got turned on to it. Oh yeah.
You're like, I like this part. I want more.
Yes.
And so, natural progression in between family and your career, you started developing more music. When did you start writing music?
Wow, man, I didn't write music till literally maybe 3 years ago.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you
And
put,
I'm upset with myself for that because if I had known that, years ago, I would have did it years ago. But everything happens for a reason.
so you started out mostly doing covers then,
Pretty much covers, yeah.
and
All covers.
heavy on the karaoke scene.
Yes.
Started a business in karaoke.
Yes.
And
But can we go back?
yeah, let's go back.
So the bar that I was doing karaoke at, they ended up closing down.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, now what are we gonna do? So
Mm.
then they said, well, they have another guy that does karaoke. It's called Bogart's Bar and Grill, which is in Topeka, Kansas, at Barrington Shopping Center. Black guy there named Hal Waits. He sings a lot in Kansas City right now. Matter of fact, he just retired. And so I learned a lot from him. And what I noticed is I was just singing like the same songs, but I would sit back and watch him and how he ran his show. And he did not only R&B, he did like country, he did classic rock. I mean, he was in all different genres. I was
Mm.
like, man, I was just amazed by that. And so I think it was his wife at the time or his girlfriend. She had said, you know what? She goes, you're a good singer, but you sing your same two songs. And she's right. Every week I would go, I would sing the same two exact songs and wouldn't do anything else.
Uh,
She goes, you just need to do something, do different songs.
mm.
And then I started practicing, like literally learning like one or two songs every week and start practicing and practicing and getting better. And I couldn't really sing, that well. And I was very stage fright at first,
Mm.
singing in front of people. And I remember I was shaking, because back then you had like a cassette tape and the words were on a sheet,
Right.
and I had my hand here and I was shaking and singing. Yeah, that's how I started off. But then once I got more comfortable and kept doing it, and the passion was there, then it started become natural. Then my voice started getting stronger, more confident, louder, and start drawing attention. That's how that pretty much started off.
I remember you telling me that you've never had an official voice lesson or singing lesson. Is that right?
That is correct.
Wow.
And my dad, he's a Pentecostal preacher. May he rest in peace now. But people assume I sung in the church. Well, those little Pentecostal churches really don't have like a choir or things like that. And of course, the drums, the same beat or
Right.
whatever on every song.
And there's
But no, I didn't sing in the choir or anything like that. And when they say something comes natural or you have that just natural talent, um, I definitely understand that because I even got a book on how to sing, how to breathe properly, and everything like that. So I ordered that, and so I got my book. It came in. It said, "Okay, lay on the ground, put the book on your stomach, and this is how you're supposed to sing and breathe and whatever. And the book's supposed to rise and go down and sing from your diaphragm and everything. Do you realize when I did that, it was natural. And I'm like, you can't, nobody taught me this. But by going through just on a videotape or whatever, as far as how to sing, it's like it was just there naturally. And that really surprised me. So I
Mm.
understand when they say you have natural talent, because a lot of people really have to work hard. So like in school, some people can go through school and get A's, and some people have to study their butts off to get a C, you know. But
Went into the army for a reason. Shit. Just saying. Oh my God. I'm so glad to get out of high school. Whoop. Okay.
yeah,
Man, please send me somewhere.
yeah.
Oh, so okay. So that was the beginning. And then you progressed. How many years did it take you to get comfortable with your own voice? Obviously, it happened pretty rapidly, but you finally figured out how strong your voice is. I've listened to some of your music and you're able to deliver some nuances and ad libs that most people don't think about or aren't capable at notes, especially men our age.
Hmm.
He may not be as old as me, but goddamn it, today it's our age. I'm not going to be the only great person on the screen today. So he cheated. He's bald and clean shaven. Anyway, yeah, I told you this is not a Walter Cronkite kind of interview. This is a conversation. I know too much.
Oh, I know you do.
Like,
No, I would say it took, man, to have the confidence. I would say it took me about, being on stage and being in front of people. That took me a good 5 years, I would say, to have just that confidence. And also the reason why I say that is because it's so funny. I went from people just saying like, no, like, no, not interested, no. And so eventually I got to the point where I was like, you know what? This is what I'll do. I'll take your weakest night and play for $75. And it's like, okay, had my first gig, started doing that for a little bit. Then they noticed they end up being their busiest night.
mhm,
Then, of course, another club would call. Then another club would call. Then
mhm.
another club would call. So I say all that to say this. So I started off with a lot of no's. And then it was like I was literally playing 6 nights a week on karaoke because we was bringing that many people in on a consistent basis. And a
Mhm.
lot of bands, I would say, like live band or entertainment like that, you have to pay. If there's 7 people, you got to pay them all. What a karaoke host, you just pay, me and the guy that I have. And so and then if you're busy, you have a crowd. Well, shoot, it's a win-win for karaoke host, and it's win-win for the bartender, the manager there, the owner. But at the end of the day, to me, nothing beats live music. Um, but it's just, hey, whatever you can afford, and like anybody else, if you can make a lot of money and have the same crowd without much going out, that's what people are going to sort of guyver to.
Right.
Um, so I was sort of torn because I'm in a band now, but you just can't beat live music. So I'm like, I was doing karaoke, and karaoke sort of pushed out the band people. You know what I'm saying? So that bothered me, and it still bothers me today a little bit because I think there's nothing better than live entertainment.
But if you get some drunk people that just want to sing and they get loud in the club anyway, give them something to do and let them sing a little bit. They can't sing for the most part, so it's entertainment. Live music is great, but sometimes people don't want to just sit there and listen. They want to be active participants in the night, and they go specifically to, sing their stuff and have a little fun, be a star for, or talked about. You're gonna be popular one way or the other, for the next 2 minutes, 3 minutes, or whatever. Oh, you did good. Oh, hey, buy that
Yeah,
man a beer. So
right.
now, once you started seeing that, how long did it take for you to negotiate a piece of the bar or a piece of the door as a business person?
Um, it depends on the side of the bar or the size of the bar. Like I know if you're struggling and you're barely making it, my goal is not to come in and hurt you. My goal is to build up a crowd where you're making good money, not just hit and miss, but on a consistent basis. And then I'll wait for you to come in and approach me first about a raise. If you don't, then I will approach you about a raise because I have a job, always had a job, and I do this for fun on the side for a little extra change.
Mm,
But if I notice you don't come to me after a while, like, okay, now your weakest night is your busiest night and it's consistent, and you don't come back saying, hey, we want to give you a little bit of money, then I start like, what's going on with you? It's like, it's not my responsibility to make you successful. You see what I'm saying? Um, because you're gonna have to pay these bills whether I'm here or not. So
right.
if you don't have anything, you still have to pay your cooks or your help. So, but by me being there and you're packing people who are drinking and you're making more money on a consistent basis, now I'll let you come to me. I'll give that a little bit, and then I'll come to them. But usually they've been really good with coming to me, because I
And
just like that good rapport and just be honest with each other.
right. And they want to keep you because you bring in people and they're selling.
Yeah,
That's where they make the biggest markup is on the booze.
and the reason why I think I quit karaoke like on my own.
Okay.
Um, so it wasn't like we're done and stuff. That was my decision to leave because I was, doing it 4 or 5 nights a week. Getting home at 2:30, had to be up at 6. I'm like, okay, and I've been doing it for years. I'm like, I'm done. I want to go a different direction. Um, so of course that's why we're here now, but that's down the road. But anyway, I decided, to go ahead and quit. But the reason why I think my karaoke show went for so many years and for so long is because I really dissect what works the best. Because if you just get up there, turn the equipment on, and say, so and so, you're up, so and so, you're up, you don't do anything else, you're not going to be successful. Because, like you had said, some people, they just can't sing. But okay, we have no problem if you can't sing. But from my experience in Topeka, people want to be entertained, whether it's karaoke or not. Because if you and I are sitting in the bar having some drinks, and then, oh, they got karaoke or they have something going on, your mind says, oh, we're going to hear a bunch of drum singers. Let's go ahead and finish this and get out of here. My show wasn't that way.
Mm,
How we started was we would open up karaoke. I would do 2 songs, right up. We DJ, look, 2 songs. I would sing 2 songs, and then while we're singing, we'll let people put their slips in and sing songs. And I would let people sing 2 songs. But what we would do is play music in between their songs. Like, so you do a song, I'll play music, and then not all the way through, almost, and then your next song comes up, and then you're done. So you're going to get good entertainment all night. So you can deal with people who can't sing because behind that you're always going to have music coming behind that or better singer or whatever. So that is, I think, one of the reasons why it went for so many years because people say, "Man, you have the best karaoke shows. Like you sing well. You have a lot of people come here that sing well, even though some people can't. You mix it up so much where you can't even tell, and it's a big party." And I think that's why it ran for so many years because I've you know, um, after you've been doing things for a while and you have people coming in that have no idea what they're talking about, telling you how to run something, uh, just depends on, how they hit you with asking you questions. So, make a long story short, these people came down from Manhattan, Kansas, right, to sing karaoke in Topeka. All they were drinking was water, okay, and singing just slow songs. Couldn't sing that well anywhere. Okay, fine. So I got up there, I did my songs, and sometimes you can have maybe 20 or 15 people singing, and we do a rotation. We don't, mess around. I treat this professionally. When you put your song in, that's when you're up and you're on the list. So whenever it's just rotating. If somebody comes in, you come in the rotation, and it rotates. This lady said, "Well, don't you run this for Manhattan?" I'm like, "Yes, it's my company." She goes, "Well, you shouldn't even be singing. Singing is for us out here. You're just supposed to run the machine, and we're here to sing. You're not supposed to sing." And I said, "Well, I'm like, I said, can I ask you a question?" She said, what? I said, why did you drive from Manhattan clear to Topeka to do karaoke? She said, because the bar we used to sing karaoke at, they closed down. I'm like, exactly. And I
Mm,
walked off
mm,
because you have people that tell you how to do something and they have no idea what they're talking about. It's like, does she really think I can make money off them drinking water? How can how can you make money and you're not going to tip?
right, right.
So,
You got to
that's
give.
that's just several stories I have on that stuff. But
Yeah,
the best way to do that is you have to entertain people. You have to play. People put in also a request. You want to hear a song? We'll play a song for you. Okay, next up is so and so. And believe it or not, I would say from my experience, I would say, man, 55 to 65% of the people come sing, they're pretty good.
mm,
You might have 35%, or you might have a day you might 50-50, but to be honest with you, the majority of people could sing okay.
mm.
Not. So I think that's another thing that helped as well.
Yeah, a lot of people are actually have some a little bit of talent, and they just want
Hmm.
to go sing and have fun. I think the non-threatening atmosphere, non-judgmental, you just got a bunch of people giggling and you know
Yeah.
having fun. And I think in a droll, with a dry place like Topeka, I am from Topeka. I can speak. Uh, it is, but when I was a kid, Topeka was much livelier because the Air Force Base was an active duty base, and there were a lot more businesses and down in town was going on. And then, afterwards, when I came back from basic training, I'm going, what happened?
Yeah.
The fish place down there on Quincy is the last thing that I recognize. You know what I mean? Uh,
Mm.
and then, well, no, on Kansas there was a tavern. What was the name of that tavern? The Lucky Five or Lucky Seven?
Lucky seven. Okay.
It was the Lucky Five. No, it was the Lucky Five. Was a
Okay.
was a club, a bar, really. Anyway, so I used to hang out with my. That's when you could go into the bar with your parents and and hang out, and then we'd be at Oakland. Um, might have been the Lucky Seven. I don't remember. It was something, but uh, it was cool hanging out with them. And so I understand about being entertained, even as a kid. It was good music. I couldn't
Hmm.
understand the drinking part. I learned about it later, but the music part, that's where I ran into the Isley Brothers. Was like at joints like that. I'm like, well, who was that? I thought it was rock. No, got my music education, which began my interest in how people make music. So, how did you evolve from that to your very first appearance on the Apollo? Talk to me. Showtime at the Apollo.
Yeah. So even right now, competitive singing, and I always tell people this, um, your skin sort of has to be like Teflon because um, competing in competitions, if you don't win, you start doubting yourself. You start thinking, well, maybe this isn't for me. And I think if you think you're going to have that, I would tell people to sort of steer away from that until you're ready because it's just going to happen. This is a very competitive world, and I can talk. You can go with Dave Chappelle, where he didn't even win the comedy show. The guy kicked his butt, and look where he is, and the guy's not even around anymore. So um, to get to the Apollo, um, man, that's a deep question because I want to go back just a little bit. So the very first competition I did was the Kansas Opera. I don't know if you remember when the Opry was here. Um, it wasn't here maybe that long, maybe 5-6 years, but they had an Opry here in Topeka, Kansas at one time. And that's when I was doing karaoke at Bogies, and
Okay.
they had a singing competition. So, of course, it's country music. And so I said, I'll have no problem. I'll join it. So I went and got me cowboy hat, got me some cowboy boots, cowboy pants. And because now, I've been doing all different types of music. And so,
The hell are
I'll
cowboys?
go ahead and join this contest. And um, so I did Mountain Music
Mhm.
by Alabama, and
Okay.
then I did Neon Moon by Brooks and Dunn.
Okay.
This was like, so I placed the first night, placed the second night, and then the third night was the final round. Do you know I took second place? That was my first experience in competitive singing, and that was country music, right?
Right.
Um, I never will forget that. So, um, continue to do my karaoke and stuff, and people kept coming to me saying, "Man, why are you in Topeka? Why are you have such a great voice?" Um, and I worked on it, for so long, and I just really enjoyed um, to sing and just see the expression on people's faces because I'm like, you know what? I don't know what you're dealing with in life, but if you come in here and you just want to relax, and I can put a smile on your face, and that means the world to me. It's not about blowing up or making it big. Just if I can make your day better, and I enjoy doing what I'm doing, and it takes a little stress off you, we're both winners. So when the Apollo came around, mind you, I never flown an airplane ever. You couldn't even get me on an airplane if I knew it wasn't moving. I wouldn't even step on the airplane to look at it inside.
Wow.
And my mom said, honey, if you want to sing, you're probably gonna have to fly. You can't drive everywhere, or whoever your manager is gonna be mad at you." So,
Mhm.
but anyway, it was amateur night at the Apollo, and I said, you know what? A lot of people, it's not just one bar, like everywhere I would go sing at, people would come up to me and say, "Man, you have such an amazing voice. You just need to do something with it. Or just go see." I'm like, you know what? I'll do it because you know me, I'm not arrogant at all. I enjoy music, I enjoy what I do. I know there are a lot of people that are way better than me singing. I get that. But I enjoy it. And I know I have some talent, but it was the people who kept coming to me, pushing me to just go somewhere different, try something. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. So went to the Apollo. Well, got on an airplane. My cousin went with me. Went ahead and filled out all the registration and everything, and went to go try out. Stayed in Upper Manhattan, and New York, they don't sleep. I didn't realize that. This is the first time I went to New York, and I'm trying to get a good night's rest at 3 o'clock in the morning. Trash trucks are running around. So, but that's a different story. So anyway, wake up in the morning and I get there and oh my God, there's like a line almost around the building
Mm.
and people are singing all around you. So now I'm like, oh, there is no way I'm going to make the Apollo. There's just too many good singers out here, whatever. But I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to sing. I'm going to save my voice. Save my voice. We're creeping in, going up, going up. And so I wasn't all the way around the building. I was probably say, maybe probably 60 people back, whatever. And there was like 60 people behind me. And then when we were leaving, there were another 100 people. So um, I think they took 20 people at a time. And so they put you in this room, and it's like, well, right when you walk in, have you ever been to the Apollo before or been inside?
No, I've never been inside.
Okay. Did you see the movie The Jackson Five?
I saw the movie with Jackson.
Okay. When he walks in
I've
and
covered the Apollo and watched,
well,
but I've never been inside.
he saw like James Brown and all those people who sung in the Apollo's famous stage and stuff. And it's still set up the same way. And I was just, and James Brown and stuff. And I was like looking like, wow, that's crazy. And then they put you in this room and it's behind the stage, it's a black room, and there's one little back door. You open it up and you go back there, and then they take one person at a time. But there's 20 people sitting there waiting. And so you go in, you try out, you walk out, either you have a paper in your hand or you don't. And in my group, I would say there was two that came out with a paper, a paper in their hand saying they made it. So people are coming out, whatever. It's my turn. I go in, give them my deal, and I do Stand By Me by Benny King.
Okay.
And I hit my first note, and I just see the eyebrows, and they raise up and they look at me. I'm like, oh, I think I got them, but I don't know.
Mm.
So I did that song for about 60 seconds or whatever. And they said, okay, hold on a second. So I'm just standing there waiting. They said, come here. And then they said, you made the amateur night at the Apollo. I'm like, oh my God. And they said, can you come back, on this date? And I'm like, oh, of course, whatever. So I come out there with my paper, my cousin's there, and that was the best feeling ever.
Wow.
Now, mind you, still, I don't know really too much about the Apollo because I was told if you're going to make it, um, singing at the Apollo, if you're not good, they're going to let you know you're not good.
Yeah.
And they don't give you any slack. So if you can sing at the Apollo, they said you can sing anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, I flew back and on amateur night, and I think it was, man, I can't remember who the host was because it was like Steve Harvey, Monique, and I can't remember who the host was the first time I was there. Um, I didn't win, but I think I placed, but I didn't win.
Okay.
And that was the first try at amateur night at the Apollo.
Okay.
I did it again and made it again, and they liked me so much they put me on Showtime at the Apollo.
Okay.
So that's like my third time.
Okay.
And it's funny because I was the last singer. Now with me, I'm like, I want to go first to get it out the way, or at least 2 or 3 down, so I can be done with this. And I didn't realize this, but one guy that I was one of the competitors as well, he was like, man, he goes, if you're last, that means they think you're the best singer. He goes, the way they have that set up is if you're the last one, when you guys have your rehearsal and stuff, they think you're the best singer. I'm like, well, oh, okay, well, cool. I didn't know that or how that works. I don't know. But I'll never forget this. It's weird because I was sitting next to Little Flip. I'm going backwards a little bit now.
It's fine. You're fine.
Rehearsal we had before the show that night. Little Flip was like the mid entertainment or whatever, and I was sitting next to him, and I didn't know who he was or whatever. They're like, "Oh, you sitting next to him?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Oh, you know who Little Flip is?" I'm like, nah. "I'm from Topeka, Kansas. I don't know, everybody in the entertainment industry, whatever." And so of course Monique, she was really nice and everything. She was a host at the Showtime at the Apollo. And mind you, if you have stage fright or you back out, you don't want to do it, they had literally 20 people on standby, hoping that somebody freaks out or can't do it. Now I can say this because I don't have that clause in the contract anymore. I can say this. It was my turn to get booed off stage. And I knew that before I was even going to go on. That's why they're playing at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't even know if the Showtime Apollo's on anymore, but they want to get, ratings or whatever. So everybody they want to see people get booed off. That's what people like. And so they had me do My Prerogative by Bobby Brown. Okay. Well, My Prerogative, Bobby Brown doesn't all this stuff going on anyway.
Right.
Love the guy to death. But when it's my prerogative, I can do what I want to do. I can't do both parts on that song. Like it doesn't make sense. Well, I went ahead and rehearsed it and everything was fine. They go, well, don't worry about it because you're gonna get booed off anyway. That's part of the show. Now, either you can do it or you don't have to do it. My mom and dad were there. My family was there, I would say. And I called my sister. I'm like, I don't want to go on stage tonight. She goes, what are you talking about? I'm like, because I know I'm going to get booed off. I'm like, I can't do both parts on this song. And I said, I was told, y'all, you're going to get booed off. And she said, Lamont, she says, you go ahead and do it. She goes, how many people can say they've been on Showtime at the Apollo or on the Apollo stage singing? How many people can say they did that? Whether you get booed off or not, whatever. Who can say that? Go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to do it. So I got on stage, did my part, and I was singing longer than I thought I would be singing. And they was like tapping us in and like, hey, you need to go get him off the stage. And so they did. And then, of course, after that got done, Monique was like, talking trash on me, Monique was. And it bothered my sister because my sister loves Monique. And now she can't stand Monique because she's like, okay, now you're talking about my brother, and he knew this was going to happen, but you need to get your laughs and your jokes in fine. And if I ever see Monique, she's going to know about it.
Green light.
Uh,
Oh my God.
but when we were done with everything, the competition was over and we were leaving. I had so many people come up to me and say, "Man, I don't know what happened." They said, "You did an excellent job on that song." They said, "There's no way that you should have got booed off." Whatever people were saying that, once again, is coming to me saying you should have never got booed off on that. Oh, you did a good job on that song. But they actually had busloads coming in, and I don't know if they got paid or not. So I'm not going to say they did, but it seemed like they had a crowd that came in to do sort of what they want them to do.
You
So
know,
this was years ago, so I can talk about it now. But then again, does it really mess with your ego when you get booed off stage? So I'm thinking, how can you be there 3 times? You don't get booed off the first 2 times, and the last time you do. Okay, that makes no sense to me. But hey, there was something that I did that a lot of people didn't have the opportunity to do. Sorry, that was probably long, but
no, you're fine. You've accomplished. You have a right to take some pride in
mhm.
that. First of all, the courage to go be on a big stage, a historic stage. Second of all, your first flight to go beyond that big stage. You conquered a lot. You know, um, success doesn't happen until you take the first step.
Yeah,
You got to get out of your heaven, out of your comfort zone, and move forward.
yeah,
Yeah, and it's scary, but it's okay to be afraid. Courage is what you do through the fear, how you move forward through the fear. That's courage. All different levels. I'm just saying. Anyway, all right. So after the Apollo, you're got this huge, huge benchmark that came. Somebody came to Kansas City. Somebody had this whole arena to film a show at. And some fella with a singing voice and a long career, got a chance to get up on the stage and do their thing. Bruh, talk to us about your experience performing on the Kelly Clarkson live show at the amphitheater in Kansas City, and then going to
Sprint Center.
the Sprint Center.
Yeah, Kansas City.
Okay. I see. I wasn't going to give them a brand like plug.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. So
I got you.
I have my own advertisers. Thank you. you know,
I
shout
got
out
you.
to my guys over at Triple. You know,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, Triple. It is an infused seltzer. They have the cans. They've got the shots. You know what I mean? I really like
Uh-huh.
cherry lemonade, the cherry lemon. Really good stuff. They're sold in Kansas in the stores, even though it's THC infused. It's really dope. It has helped me through some long days. Not overwhelming like eating a gummy or a pack of gummies, which I have
Uh-huh.
stupidly done. Yeah, but keeps you on. Yeah, Triple is amazing. Great flavor, great convenience. Love it. But anyway, all right. You guys got he gave you your plug. I gave somebody a plug. We're even now. We're even now advertising. But Kelly Clarkson, amazing. I like watching her. I think she's fun. And you had your first appearance at that amphitheater, that center. And you can say it. I'm not going to say it.
No, I'm not gonna say it.
They don't pay me. Damn it.
Right.
But for Kansas, that's a huge venue. So
Hmm.
that obviously, and it was part of her television show, right? They were doing her debut, wasn't it?
Yeah, you have her debut before she had her talk show. Yes.
See, I told you this brother was serious. They added him to the debut of the Kelly Clarkson programming. You want to talk about how and what you did?
I do. And before I hit that for a second, after the Apollo, I went to Las Vegas for the USA World Showcase
Okay, okay.
competition. That the Apollo got me there. And I took first place for most promising adult male and have a big trophy downstairs in my basement right now. Um, and then, of course, later on in life, so we get to the Kelly Clarkson thing. But um, the reason how that came about was by being in law enforcement, where it was getting pretty bad out there to where it was just, to me, the way I felt was the world against law enforcement. Not meaning that, verbatim or for real, but it just seemed like every time you turn the news on or something, it was, law enforcement wasn't in a good standing. Um, and Black Lives Matter came out and everything. So it's sort of like, man, I'm like, you just can't reach the people. And I know you can't control what the media puts out. They're going to put out what they put out. I know what I see on the streets. Um, but it's like, how can you really talk to the people about, you know what? All law enforcement officers are just not that way. Yeah, you have bad seeds, whether you're a doctor, highway patrolman, um, whatever you do in life, you have bad seeds. They're there.
Mm.
And then one thing people would say, well, if you don't say anything, then you're part of the problem. Well, yeah, of course you're the part of the problem. If you don't say anything, you see something, then you're a criminal, you know?
Right, right.
Um, so my deal at the time was, since I am a singer, um, a guy that I work with who's no longer there now, he was our social media guy. And so he was more like, that's when law enforcement got into like Twitter and Facebook and stuff and on social media and stuff like that. So I said, you know what? I'm like, why don't I sing a song and see if we can sort of break through? Not lip sing, actual sing the song while we're driving together.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, because I believe that music breaks every barrier. So if you see me in uniform, automatically just going to say, nope, But if you see me singing a song that you like, or, nothing fake about it, we're just singing, I think we can sort of reach them that way. And so he said, yeah, we'll definitely do that. So we set it up. It was an iPhone, put in the patrol car, and I did, oh, Jeffrey Osborne's song. Oh my God, why can't I think of the song now?
The song that made you famous.
Love Ballad, Love Ballad.
Okay, okay, okay.
It was Love Ballad. And so put the song on and I start singing away and I'm like, you don't know this song? Like I mess with him, whatever. And so we did Love Ballad and he was driving. I was over there singing and teasing him and stuff. That song went viral. It went so viral, it hit Fox News.
Mhm.
And matter of fact, my brother called me because it was like Fox 43 at the time. They were talking about it. He goes, man, Lamont, he goes, you're on the news right now. I'm like, how am I on the news? They said they were talking about this high patrolman singing Love Ballad and doing a great job, and they're going to call you whenever they can, whatever. So sure enough, Fox 43 picked it up. Then Fox and Friends picked it up.
Mm.
And so it started going extremely like viral. Um, had thousands and thousands of comments on that. And so when Kelly Clarkson did the Meaning of Life tour, um, they were looking for people in certain places they were playing at to invite them on stage or welcome them on stage with her. And so when she came to the Topeka area or Kansas City, I don't know if it's her agent or whatever, when they're looking for talented people, and they happened to run across me on YouTube.
Okay.
And so they get in contact with me. They call my agency, get in contact with me, and said, "Hey, we want to talk to you for a minute. We saw your video. We love what you guys did and everything." And Kelly Clarkson's very excited about it. And they said, "Well, we have a lot of people to go through, but we'll let you know if you made it or not. And if not, we'll give you front row seats or tickets or whatever to the concert."
Okay.
And I was like, man, I want to just go and sit in, sit for the concert. And I was like, no, you can't be that way. But and I really now Kelly Clarkson doesn't know this. She's probably gonna know it now.
Mm.
I didn't know anything about Kelly Clarkson or what music she sang. I
You're like, hell,
So my mom said, well, she goes, you better, if they ask you what's your favorite song by Kelly Clarkson, you better come up with some or listen to her music. And so sure enough, in the interview later on, it came on, what's your favorite song? I said, you think but anyway,
no.
so I didn't know too much about her,
Hmm.
which I think is another reason why I did really well on stage because I like Earth, Wind and Fire and things like that. So they said they would get back with us. And I'm like, okay. Well, then they did get back with us and said, okay, it's between you and another person. And so I had another Zoom meeting. And then I'm like, well, it's 50-50 now. So when we finished up with everything with the interview, I was like, no, I said, man, it came close. I was like, there's no way they're going to pick us. We didn't get it. Man, next thing I know, I get a phone call while I'm in my patrol car saying Kelly Clarkson's team called and they want you to call them immediately, as soon as you can. I'm like, okay. So I pulled down the road, parked, dialed the number. Yeah, this is Lamont Jackson. Yes, Kelly Clarkson picked you. She wants you at the Sprint Center on stage with her. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, no. And then they said they will be in contact with you to give her all the arrangements.
Wow.
Man, that was like the best day I would have to say um, of my life as far as being in the entertainment. From being in a hole in the wall karaoke to being able to sing at the Sprint Center with Kelly Clarkson. um, so that's how I got on stage with her. You good?
Yeah. I'm just like bedazzled. Like, how did you get to? So you got there and you did this in uniform, which you didn't bother
Yes.
to mention. They insisted that you guys come on um, and do it in uniform. Did you, when you told them what your thoughts were about how music could bridge the gap, was that also a point of interest for the producers of the show?
I would have to say so because, of course, when we got there and we had rehearsal and she was rehearsing as well, um, I never forget this. She goes, "Where are my boys at?" Like she knew we was backstage,
Okay.
and so we got up there and we started. And what you see with Kelly Clarkson is what you get. She is really down to earth and such a good person, reasonable and everything else. What you see is truly what you get with her. Um, but she had a relative that was in law enforcement,
Okay.
as well.
Right.
But she thought it was a beautiful thing to have law enforcement, you know, um, have some type of a line where you can communicate with the citizens. Because really all they see is the uniform. They don't see, they see the uniform, not, hey, you have a wife, hey, you have, kids, you have people who love you. But when you put that uniform on, they're not thinking that way. They're just thinking, oh, you're a cop, you're like all the rest of them that are whatever. So she said that was something good that came out of everything. And one thing that I will say is that, you know, it's funny how, when you're watching TV, you sort of start to fall into like you're believing what they're saying on TV. And I was like, man, a lot of people just don't like at that particular time. It's like, man, a lot of people don't, they hate cops. They just do. Now, you will get when I'm out and about, hey, man, thank you for your service. Thank you for this. You would get that. You don't see it on TV, but personally, they come up to me and say that. And I will never forget this. When I got on stage, um, and received a standing ovation from 20,000, 25,000 people.
Man.
And I'm like, man, forget what that TV said. These people are standing up for two people in uniform I'm like, you do have people that support us.
Yeah.
So I was able to see it, I was able to experience it, and then I was able to sing a song for them. And I tell you what, that was if you want a high, you get on stage and sing in front of 20,000 people. Um, that is a high. It's weird because people were asking me, like, how in the hell can you get on stage and sing in front of that many people and not be scared? And I said, you know what? My mindset was just act like you're at a karaoke bar. And that's how I got through that. And I was like trying to stare at people. When you got thousands of people staring at you, you're trying to stare at everybody. You can't do it, you know. And then I
Yeah.
single one person out singing, "You sir." When I got that feedback from the crowd, then it amped me up even more.
Mhm.
And so when we were done, it was behind stage and everything. We was all talking, having a great time, and hanging out. And I never forget this. My dad called and said, "Do you know that's Kelly Clarkson's stage? That's not your stage."
Nah, it made it your stage that day.
It was, yeah. So people got it. We really got a kick out of that. And then what came from that was a lot of comments, and it just, man, it was like millions of comments, millions of views, and that will never go away. And then able to be on her talk show as well. To me, that was a turning point, saying, you know what, this is what I really truly want to do. And then Kelly Clarkson said, yeah, he said, you can sing. And you have someone like her telling me that I can sing. I don't care what anybody else says after that. I know I can sing. She's been in the business. She understands it.
Yeah, this is true. So, what's been the most fun for you about the process of making music?
Learning,
Learning
uh,
some hard lessons out there.
learning, and and sometimes I think we might overuse use this word, but everything happens for a reason. Um, I could have been signed with Indie from Pulse Records in Las Vegas, but was that the right time to sign with somebody? I don't know. Right now, I'm thinking, no, absolutely not. If you have a daughter that, you have to take care of healthcare and stuff like that, you just can't go run off to see what happens. Um, Not knowledgeable enough to know how the system works, if you're signing the right contracts, um, are they getting over on you? And I always tell people now that I'm learning the system, you hear a lot of these artists who come up and say, man, I was screwed over, screwed over, screwed over. I'm like, okay, I'm not saying you weren't, but are you knowledgeable enough to know what you're signing, or have you asked these questions? So you can't get mad at somebody if you just, hey, I made it and I get this advance money and, I'm an artist now and you don't have anything out, you don't have a ball behind you just getting started and they give you front money and then they're going to take a certain percentage of that. You see where I'm going with this? And then
Yeah,
say flops. So you really can't get mad at the industry because you didn't take care of your end and you need to learn how it works or ask questions. It's okay, but I think you just see everything and jump on board and so I think that it's not right for people to continue to throw the industry underneath the bus. I'm not, I'm trying to say it's like, well, you have your job to do on your end as well.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. A lot of people forget that just because you sign with an artist deal with a label, they think the label is going to do all the work for them. And that's not the case. You're a great artist and you were out there engaging and you caught the attention of someone.
Mm-hmm.
As an artist, you have to continue to do that. The label's job is to do whatever they agree to help with the back end support. If they give you money, understand it's a freaking loan.
It's a loan.
It's a loan. And if you should become big, you won't get no part of the hot dog sales. You get no part of the popcorn, the soda, the parking, nothing. You get actual ticket sale, door sales.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And if they put you on sale and you have an agreement for $90 a ticket and they put them on sale for $25, guess who eats that? The
Right.
artist.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you signed that shit.
Right.
Live Nation is being sued under this, thing by some major country artists. And country artists and rock artists, they get paid.
As an artist, we should reflect the time.
Why you so talented?
Cause I'm black.
Why you so amazing?
Cause I'm black.
Really important that we build characters so that people understand their story matters.
2 Chainz and I both are just really into good food.
And when you know you are royalty, you will only aim in life to be royalty.
We're doing it right now. I don't give a damn what they say about me. Yes, I called your ass out. I know I shouldn't be saying this kind of.
Shout out the Hype Magazine Network.
Shout out to the Hype Magazine Network.